good evening and good afternoon, because in Poland is 2 o'clock, so p.m. And I know that in the USA it's morning or night. I'm so glad to be here, especially that I was in Mexico 3 years ago, and it was very, very important experience in my life. Today, I would like to present the results of my research, qualitative research, about parentification, about reversing roles in the family. And the title, as you can see, is The Family with Reversed Role in Autobiographical Narratives. The aim of my presentation is to show the functioning of the family with inverted roles from the perspective of parentified people. The people, adult people who experience reversing of family roles in the childhood. And firstly, what is the parentification? It's a phenomenon occurring in the family life and consists of reversing the roles between the child and the parent or parents. It is understood as a functional or emotional change of roles in which the child devotes their own needs in order to adapt and take care of the instrumental or psychological needs of the parent. And we have two types of parentification, considering the importance of the conditions in which given family functions. Jurkowicz distinguished two types: healthy, adaptive, and destructive, pathological parentification. And the first one, adaptive parentification, refers to the situation where a child undertakes tasks, functions, roles of others, but they can and actually have a positive influence on the child's development and shaping in the child the feeling of being helpful to parents, being more competent, and so on, and stimulating the development of responsibility, awareness of their own efficiency and effectiveness. And the other one, the destructive parentification, occurs when the parent imposes a specific role on the child due to their own helplessness or impotence, impose a specific role on the child while expecting from the child adult behavior. And in this case, the child behaving as an adult in the family is burdened with duties significantly exceeding their capabilities and strength. And the other distinction made also by Jurkowicz, who distinguishes instrumental and emotional parentification. Instrumental parentification consists of caring for the family's material existence, satisfying its physical needs, involving using the child excessively in various household tasks, or taking care for siblings or other family members. And the emotional one consists of care for the emotional and social needs of the household members, family members, siblings, parents on the other. Child emotionally involved in the role of the parents, guardian, may become a mediator in marital conflicts, provide a support for one or both parents, can be a scapegoat, a buffer of difficult emotions of guardians, a family judge, or arbitrator, and even a partner. When we're talking about roles in the family, we should connect it with feeling of being responsible for others, especially children ascribed to the parents. The specificity of family roles has been perfectly captured in the system theory, which defines the functioning of the family from the perspective of the system of positions and roles. Systematic family mechanisms become apparent in the process of parentification. And the reversal of family roles, often unconscious, seems to be socially accepted phenomenon. Children become so-called small heroes, showing specific strength and valor since they take over responsibility for the family environment, support parents and guardians. And this kind of heroism is marked by effort exceeding their strength, since it is undertaken due to the sense of duty, need to save the family system, maintain intrinsic bonds or loyalty. And my research, for purpose of knowing the descriptions and interpretation of childhood with experience, parentification experience, I use biographical perspective, biographical method, and Fitzgerald's autobiographical narrative interview, in which the interlocutor presents the course of his life from his own point of view. So they could talk about their own experiences. I interviewed, the research involved 25 people aged 20 to 67 years who could experience a reversing role in the childhood. And the selections was deliberated by adjusting to the criteria that were determined on the basis of the risk groups. For example, from alcoholic families, from monoparentic families, children from families when parents were conflicted or getting through the process of divorce, and so on. The biographical perspective allows us to capture the subjective character of the research subject. And with the problem, okay, I must a little short. And the reversal of family roles has marked the individual's course of life, although it has not often been the main problem in given family. Childhood being a key stage in human life, in their case, had been marked in a specific way and will be referred to as parentified childhood. Based on the analysis of the narratives of the parentified individuals, 3 stages of childhood were distinguished. I distinguished three stages: proper childhood, transition phase, and adult childhood. And the picture of proper childhood emerging from the narratives of the interlocutors is perceived by them at the time of proper or relatively correct functioning of the family as a period of normality when the family roles seem as natural. This is carefree childhood during which the parents take care of the child. The interlocutors point out that as young children, small children, they would not be able to notice, understand problems or situation of the family. So they were aware of this. However, the next stage, referred to as the transition phase, changed such perspective. It includes circumstances and events significant and contributing to the transition from proper childhood to adult childhood. The transitional phase is accompanied by a situation in which the child confronts the family problems. It often involves taking the initiative by the child and undertaking actions that emotionally and instrumentally exceed their capabilities and strength. The child gradually or rapidly enters the stage of adult childhood, understood as non-childhood childhood that is lost or even taken away. The interlocutors clearly describe this period as a time of hardships, duties, loneliness, attempts, and raising themselves and siblings. Upon the basis of gained narratives, the following elements of adult childhood was distinguished: responsibility, involuntary heroism, self-managing, and loneliness. It's very short and complex description of adult parentified childhood. But something also, I would like to say something also about parenthood. The other to show the other perspective. When parent imposes parental responsibility to the child, the family roles become now estimated, distorted, or reversed. The child who is forced to become his own parent or parent of his parent doesn't have a person to follow, from whom to teach and who to respect. As we know, the parents, mother, father are the people creating family life, giving it the sense. In analyzed narratives, participants try to present their parents and describe critically the functioning of the family. They presented family problems, crises, circumstances, and the proceeding of them. The parenthood shown in narratives I call parentifying parenthood. The parents is in a relation to many circumstances, lack of possibilities, or social cultural patterns required support in maternal and paternal duties from children. These transmissions of responsibility by parents on children made that their children have to be like adult. So I distinguish some categories which can characterize parentified parenthood: crisis, lostness in the parental role, helplessness, and something like managing oneself. Just the experience of parentification appears as multi-stages process in the face of family crisis and parenthood crisis, which consists of chronic troubles and sudden unexpected incidents disturbing family balance. The child was directly or indirectly, in an emotional way, determined to do instrumental or emotional tasks. So the child had to play adult role in the family. And based on my narrative material, I distinguish some roles that parentified played in the family, and they could be divided into three groups. Roles performed in relation to the entire family system. So children who were organizers, servants, decision makers, guilties, earners. Roles towards parents, advisors, partners, confidants, mediators, defendants, and carers, and roles towards siblings, also carers and educators. I know I have not enough time to describe all of them, but I would like to show and how many roles there are, yeah? How many responsible roles. And being a young adult marks the course of their life and shapes their biography. Approaching this phenomenon from the perspective of the narrator's entire lives allows us to notice the significant consequences of such experience. And in the table, you can see four types of consequences: positive one and negative, and also this one which was visible in our experience in childhood and adulthood. Also, among the positive consequences in the childhood, the narrator shows a sense of agency, feeling of being needed by parents, feeling of being more competent, and a child that evokes admiration, respect for its maturity. However, among the negative consequences during childhood, there are, for example, no time for play because of duties, no time, but not enough or not enough time for study, a sense of bondage, destructive sense of responsibility, feeling of inadequacy. They said that there was no my role, but I had to perform it. And as we can see in the table, the positive effects of reversing roles in the adulthood, there are ability to take responsibility for work, for other people, organizational skills, independence, and the ability of making decisions, very important skills, of course, and striving to achieve the goals. But the negative consequences in adulthood were connected with relations with generational family, yeah, their own family, reproductive family, the relations with other people in many teams, and also psychosomatic difficulties, like, for example, depressions or the others unknown, many times disease. Narrators who experience family role reversals try to direct their own lives in adulthood. Therefore, they made various decisions, thanks to which they created their individual life plan. They can be interpreted as some ways of coping with childhood experiences and the consequences that arise from them. Fritzsche called them biographical action plans. And based on the narratives, I discovered 5 strategies. I call them Far Away From Here, Oasis of Peace, Educational Profession Work, the World of Passion, and Fighting for Myself. Okay, the next slide. This is the fragments parts of my interviews to show to describe these strategies. But far away from here means leaving the family home physically, moving out and starting own life away from reality and problems of the family environment. The physical distance from the generation family created an opportunity for emotional separation from it as a source of difficult experience. It also could be interpreted as symbolic distance. Yeah? The next one, Oasis of Peace, it was also connected with physical distance with the family, leaving the family home, but it also was connected with starting one's own families. Definitely different than a generational family. It was new, better life, full of peace, without problems, without that problems. Education, professional work. In many cases, leaving the family home was leaving for studies. However, it was not always associated with a desire to continue education, but rather a desire to escape. Individual success, personal development, professional career, and dedication to them have become ways of coping with the shadows of the past and at the same time adopted strategies for independent functioning. The word of passion, it was something like searching for a springboard or an escape route, led the narrators to the areas of life which led them forget of the over responsibility, family, everyday life, and all its hardships. Interests and passions can be treated as survival strategies, in adult childhood and as an opportunity to direct the self-development towards independent life. And the last one, the fighting for myself. There were many moments or situations that adult children or my interlocutors need help, and and in this moment, in some moment of their lives, they were starting to seek for a specific specialist help. They started, for example, therapy, and it was the very important moment, a point of the life. The strategy that they started to help themselves. Summarizing, I tried to show you in very short way, but my research and results have more materials and results. The analysis of the biographies of people taking over responsible tasks assigned to adults in the family, especially caring, helping, emotional tasks, let us touch the essence of this experience as difficult. sometimes traumatic and often leading to several consequences in the course of life. But these strategies, which I show, basing on them, we can say that people have some power inside to deal, to coping with many problems. Yeah, thank you for attention. Sorry for my mistakes, English mistakes.